Hello, legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. I'm recording. We're going to get some clips today. This is Sunday's ride. Yesterday's ride, Saturday, not much of a turnout. Dan had just returned from injury, so the ride was kind of subdued. There was not a whole lot of action or anything. So we had some technical issues with our battery as well. So we decided to just record clips from Sunday's ride. Paul's not going to be on Sunday's ride. He does not ride on Sunday. He's got other things that his work requires his time in the morning. So hopefully we'll be able to get some good clips. These are the toughest times to dress up for. It's about 9 or 10 C right now outside, which is about 50 F, and it's supposed to warm up to about probably 13 or 14 C, which is about 60, 61 F. So those times are hard to dress for. You got to kind of nail it right, or you end up having a lot of stuff to shed or having too much stuff. So I've got a base layer in this midweight jersey, the old trade team jersey, my arm warmers, and I think I should be fine. Similar to what yesterday was like. But these are the kind of days I really love because they're just mild temperatures, like a cool ride. So hopefully we'll be able to get some decent clips for you guys. I hope you got a chance to get some K's in yesterday. If you didn't, get out today. Keep your body moving. And no matter what, get those K's in. On this ride, it's a Sunday morning ride. I left Northampton about 6:45 thereabouts, headed out into the woodland. I took the longer way to meet Team RR on Alden Bridge there. Once I hooked up with them, we went down Research Forest on 1488 out to Magnolia. Then we headed 149 past Cairn onto Jackson Road. Got some clips early in the ride, and then got more clips once we got out past Mount Moriah on Johnson Road there after Dacus. And then I got some clips when we got into Montgomery on 149. Lots of hills there. I think you'll enjoy the clips. We actually ran into Christian and his wife in the Grand Lake Estates. And so we rode them for a little bit on Honea Egypt Road back into the woodlands. Turned out to be a very, very beautiful day, a fair day. Not very warm, probably about 60 Fahrenheit. 12 or 13 Celsius. Hope you got a chance to get some K's in. Enjoy the clips.
He's laying in bed. He's like, that's a good one.
He has a big
Flat tire I'm out today, didn't feel like changing it last night.
I didn't hear that part.
That's Randy. Randy's message to the group. He didn't want to ride. Randy sent a message telling me he had a flat tire last night. He didn't feel like changing them the night before.
I'd say west.
Right out west.
So we're discussing the route.
Okay.
That's the wind.
How about distance-wise? Is anybody, I went to church last night, so I'm free to move about the cabin this morning, so. 60? Everybody good with that?
I think you're at a spot.
So if we go west, if we go out west, how far do y'all want to go west? Where do you want to turn?
If you want to do 60, probably what would be really good is maybe Jackson to 1486, and then,
So where would you stop, at that Fuel Max gas
Yeah.
station first?
Yeah, I want to buy.
Okay.
yeah, because, yeah. You know how you go Mount Moriah? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That gas station right there on 105 and
yeah. That would be, and then you can decide, and people can decide if they want to come back from there, or you want to do Mount Moriah to Johnson, maybe Bailey Grove, then come down 149 and come home.
that sounds good to me.
Yeah, because that's pretty reasonable.
And that route has a lot of
Anybody
hills.
wait on anybody?
No, I'm just trying to find
No,
out.
you're
You
not.
got your gloves on.
I know, I'm trying
Get
to
your
find out which
stuff on.
pocket my inhaler is in. Thank you. Thank you.
You dropped something else. There it is.
Oh, look, I found it. Don't laugh.
No, you probably should keep it in this one, right here,
Yeah.
right in the front. You got a
I
zipper.
typically don't need need it, so that's what I keep right here.
Oh, okay.
She has an
'Cause you got a
inhaler,
zippered
and she
pocket
says she
right up
doesn't
front.
need it all
Yeah,
the
but the
time.
problem, I might end up
I was
using it.
suggesting that she keep it in her front zippered pocket
I'm
there.
thinking like, okay, what's gonna come off, what's gonna stay on?
Yeah, I think you'll probably keep it on because it's not going to warm up too much. It said 60. So,
If we could bring up Mary's.
and it's 43 right now right here, so it's going to be colder. We're right here, you know, the air temperature. Yeah, it's 43, so it's cooler than what they forecasted. And where we're going is cooler.
It depends on,
I think you'll keep it on.
Alright, fair enough, no, it's staying.
you know, if he ever posts anything to me.
Bottle in, he's.
Narc ears.
All right, guys, let's roll. Let's do this. Hey, Dan the man was here yesterday looking really good. He's recovered well from his crash. So he rode with us. There weren't a whole lot of people.
I'm chatting with Alan as we roll out.
Yeah, there's a guy that had a crash 2 months ago. He hit a curb. Yeah.
He lives near me, and I promised to tell him.
Yeah, Dan had crashed on the way home after the ride. A little bit, Davis has to
It
stop
happened on research?
to adjust her rear view mirror.
Because all these curbs
She
are
has
prevalent
one of those
throughout
mirrors
the
on
woodlands
the
where they
side
jut
of her
out.
helmet.
I don't know what kind of design that is.
I've never been able to use those things,
Oh, we'll wait for you.
so I let the guys know.
You guys slow down a little bit. We're waiting on, what's her name? Just soft pedal.
Call it a wardrobe malfunction.
Let's wait for Davis. Wardrobe malfunction, I think. Yeah, I went ahead and signed up because the prices keep going up.
That's the
On the,
RBC
on
Grand
that
Fund
Grand
I'm telling
Fondo, yeah.
Alan about.
Yeah, and if you wait till, I think it went up yesterday or something, but if you wait till the event, it's like 60. So you should get it before the event, it's like 50. Yeah, they keep going up.
It's the same, probably the
Same route. I want to do the 100-mile route.
Alan did the ride last year.
So I signed up yesterday, or was it Friday? I think Friday.
What day is it again?
April 7th. It's a Sunday. Yeah. Okay, let's go. It's a Sunday. Yeah.
We end up running into Christian on this ride.
Go
at
ahead.
the
You're
end.
good. Okay.
With all the pollen and stuff, it's like the allergies are going around. Itchy throat this morning.
This is a bigger turnout than what happened on yesterday. Yesterday, nobody showed pretty much. Just Paul, myself, a couple other riders. And then we had technical difficulties with the battery. I don't know what it was, but got it sorted yesterday. So, going out west today?
Yeah, Dan the man and Maurice was there yesterday. Paulie Lunga, myself. Figure out who else is there.
So yesterday we kept the pace very civilized, because you know Dan's been injured. So he kept saying, thanks for the pace, oh this is great. I told him, this is how we ride. And so you guys are the one that try to kill yourself on every ride. We kept it wasn't easy, but it was steady. Yeah. He said, this is exactly what I need. He kept telling Paul. Paul said, that's how we ride.
Yeah, Scott was there yesterday. And so was Michael.
Especially to do long rides, you can't just burn yourself out. Yeah, exactly.
So Dan needs long rides. He needs long, steady rides to get himself conditioned. These guys just take off down the road. They forgot about a warm
These
up.
guys don't even warm up. I thought UMP was bad. I was telling Alan, I said, I thought UMC was bad. These guys just take off. So I decided to go to the front here to pull, but you will see that people don't draft. Everybody's just still riding. I told Alan I'm gonna go pull this group to pull them up to those guys so they can save their energy so we don't have to wait. Because Davis and Bob are the weakest riders in the group. So I get to the front here and Davis just doesn't really stay that close. It starts out okay there, but you'll see everybody kind of drift off. Every bit of energy you use, you pay for later. So you gotta be stingy with it. That's Maurice on the left, that's Bob back there. The goal here was to keep the group together. So we waited when necessary for people to catch up. That's Mark, Rob, and Paul each up the road. You see the gap between me and them. I'm just kind of riding. I was trying to pull them back. I'm not riding hard. So they hammer like this, and then they'll wait at the light for us. So I'm not going to waste my energy. They're doing probably 35, 37 kilometers. I said they don't warm up. They're doing about 37 kilometers an hour or so. This is a slight downhill here. I went ahead and edited here for time. You see the gap between me and those guys. So Davis didn't really try to stay on my wheel. And that's fine. I'm not riding hard, just kind of rolling along. But it's different for everybody. I can tell they've turned off the power up front. Yeah, it's hard for you to see with the camera, but they're a little closer than it appears. And I could tell by just body action, cadence, they weren't doing much at this point. So I backed off myself. I use the road here. I've explained it before. The road's available, it's clean. I'm not sitting on that shoulder. It's Sunday morning. Weekend mornings, these roads are clear. They're not busy. I use the lane, it's cleaner. In a little while, we'll let Alan know that this shoulder ends, because he ends up getting back on the shoulder, and then I suggested him to come on the road because it's going to end and we're going straight. The shoulder just ends at the intersection. Go ahead and get on the road, Alan. This ends and we're going straight. The bump over there. There's a lip where the road hits the asphalt. So it's just lighten the load there. This is Maurice. We're heading west. They want to do about 65 miles, so probably 90-some kilometers. That's the plan for them anyway. I just came out to get at least 100 kilometers. Ended up with 132 kilometers. Which is more than 75 miles. So it's a good ride. I didn't overexert myself. I just kind of rode comfortably for the most part. But still a good pace. We had a good pace. Good ride. The light changes as we approach, so we didn't have to stop. This is Rob on the right. He works at one of the local bike shops, a mechanic there. And of course Paul H up there and Mark in front. I'm sitting to the left of Rob. Rob ended up getting low on energy late in the ride. He's a former racer. He doesn't ride as much as he used to. He said he rides 3 days a week. You do have to pace yourself. This ended up being a pretty long ride, and the terrain is challenging. So by the time we got back on Honea, Egypt, he had to get some jelly beans from somebody. I think it was Davis. They gave him some jelly beans. His energy level was low.
Man, that squirrel ran into the tree.
Yeah, a little squirrel across the street right in that corner. The camera didn't pick it up. But it ran into a little tree. It's like it was going so fast. And it just, I thought that was funny. It says 6 Celsius, which is about right, but it actually feels like 6 Celsius. It was one of those days where we didn't have much wind chill. Later in the morning, the wind picked up because the front kept blowing harder. This time of year is just beautiful. You go from like 4 or 5 Celsius to 12 to 15 Celsius. So that's like 40s Fahrenheit to 60s Fahrenheit. It's harder to dress for this time of year, but you end up taking off stuff as the day warms up. The temperatures vary so much, but it's just lovely time of year. I love this time. This is almost like a replica of Saturday's weather. There's some guy up ahead on the kind of what I call like a beach cruiser. He's just turned. This is a recreational rider riding around. It's good to see him on the proper side of the road. A lot of people that are not seriously riders, they tend to ride against traffic. I'm not sure why they think that's safe. Robert on the right is riding a steel frame built by a guy called Hans Schneider, local guy in the area, lives in a place called Huntsville, Texas. Paul and I rode there on one of our adventures, very hilly area, and that's a classic frame builder. He's has a great reputation. He's been doing this for several decades. All he does are steel frame bikes. Time of year, I make sure my knees are covered. Anything under 18 Celsius, which is about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, I cover my knees. Unless it is a day where the wind temperature, the wind is coming from the south and it's warm and balmy, then I might wear just regular shorts down to 10 Celsius, which is 50 Fahrenheit. The knee has very little tissue, so you have to make sure it's protected. At this intersection, there is no car there. As you see Paul is looking around. He wants to go to the little signal, the pedestrian signal, so he can push that so we can get the light to change for us. Because the sensors in the pavement don't pick up bicycles. It's especially with all the carbon bikes out here now. Those sensors pick up metal. So Paul Edge goes over there and pushes the button. And that forces the light to go through the entire cycle and not just favor the highway. Even if there's a car behind you sometimes, if the car's not close enough to the sensor, you see the sensor in the road there, all those cuts, that's where they place the sensors. If the car is not over one of those, the light may not change. I sped it up here for time. Look at that sky. It's beautiful. Like wind crests.
Not protected, not protected. Watch out for that.
It's an unprotected turn, so David's now letting Mark know because the other car from the opposite direction was going straight. I was hoping Maurice would get in the picture, but he kept hanging back, so I just ride up behind Paul Edge here. I stayed next to the white line as much as possible. I came over just to give you guys a shot. Rob is still on the right, catching wind. The pace is edging up. And in a short while, he will end up coming back. But I noticed that, you end up just wasting all those little blocks of energy that you waste, you pay for it later. And so about the third hour or so in the ride, he started fading a bit. It all adds up. You gotta save your energy. So he's the only one on the right. Everybody else is in a line on the left. I said a little to the left so I can see around them. Ends up sitting up there for quite some time. He didn't ride yesterday, so I guess he was trying to get a good workout today. Notice that quite a few riders in this group don't cover their shoes, which I think you lose energy through your feet. And 6 Celsius is cold. My cutoff is 10 Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit. I cover my feet. Anything from 10 and below. So your body doesn't have to use energy to keep you warm. Keep your temperature optimal. You guys look at Paul Edge. Those of you who have seen the earlier videos before his fit, that's a 3 centimeter difference. And now he no longer reaches for the pedal. His knee is not accelerating on the downstroke like it used to be. So it was a pretty significant difference. I thought it was smaller, but once we measured him, now he's smoother without the body roll. So the rod finally decides to seek shelter. You can see the speeds are picking up. 33 to 35 kilometers an hour is where it will be. So he expended a lot of energy trying to chat at that pace into this wind. It's not very windy, but we're starting out into the wind and it ends up getting breezier during the day. I just always expect the wind to be out when I ride, so I really don't think about it. I just go. I like to start my routes into the wind where possible. So Alan is sitting on Mark's wheel, then Davis, then Bob, and then Paul H. And behind me is Maurice and Rob that just drifted back. This is the benefit. Everybody's drafting very well right now. Even Bob, who usually doesn't stay very close. But riding with the group, you save so much more energy, and then you travel faster. I mean, if you look at, I'm sitting behind Paul. My heart rate says 120, 119. That's like my warm-up pace, or less than that actually. I mean, my heart rate just keeps dropping. So at such low effort, you can cover more ground at a faster speed using less energy. Because I'm in the group, I'm constantly soft pedaling, coasting. That's why you see the RPM flipping back and forth. There's a lot of debris. I'm on the road at this point. I saw that coming. They're reacting to it. It's just from the rain. It's all the dirt are washed over there. When that gutter fills up with nowhere to go, it comes on the road. And it brings the dirt on the road. We have a lot of gutters that just look like they do stuff, but they're not planned very well, generally. There are exceptions, of course. And if you don't have the right kind of elevation and the gradation of the gutter, the water has nowhere to go. If you don't connect it at the corners, then it's pointless. Especially out here in the suburbs, you just don't have the drainage, what I call connected wire. The pace is picking up. This road will go up a little bit. You can see it. The camera has it framed right. It's a slight grade right now. Might be 0.6, 0.7. It says 1. It flipped. But we're going up and into the wind. I'm sitting in probably a 19 or probably a 19 or a 17 tooth cog at this point. I'm not really thinking about cadence or anything. Just kind of rolling along. The pace is not hard yet. And all I'm doing, I'm trying to stay left to get a good shot of the pace line. It's kind of hard if you don't sit a little to the left because the lens is off to the left itself. But by being a little to the left, now you guys can see who's pulling and who's following instead of me being directly behind Paul H. So even if they move, I still have a good shot. The camera is in my left hand and I'm just holding it against the brake hoods. The temperature did not affect the gimbal that much today because the actual temperature is what you see. There wasn't a whole lot of wind chill that does factor into how it behaves. The road it goes up here, you can see it, feel it. And what happens, everybody's trying to hold the same speed. So to do 34 kilometers an hour on an almost 1% hill, you got to put more force into the pedal. That's the Chevron Paul and I stopped at. I think there's a Subway there. Yeah. We had our cafe stop yesterday in the middle of our ride there. So Mark pulls off the front. And Alan takes over. In a few kilometers, he ends up going too hard, and the group starts to split up. Davis and Bob start having problems, and I think Mark ends up riding up to the front, letting him know to back off. And I'm keeping my eye on Davis and them, so I tell Mark after that make sure you keep your eye on them, because once we get to that overpass, it gets hard for them. Encourages you to ride just a little harder than you would where you're riding solo. It motivates you to keep the impetus going. So there is a big benefit besides just the social gathering and everything that's involved. There's a big benefit athletically in cycling to ride with a group. The group will always push you. And then psychologically, it's easier on you. You don't have to push yourself. You're more motivated. So I definitely believe that every cyclist should hook up with a group once in a while, as often as it works for you. Besides the fact that riding with others allows you to become comfortable cycling in close proximity to other cyclists. If all you do is ride by yourself and you're not able to ride around other people, you can have some problems when you do mass start events. To be a well-rounded cyclist, you need to include group rides in your repertoire. So those that don't are severely limiting themselves. You have to pick the right group that is not restrictive and overbearing. I've heard some ridiculous things from people here on this channel, and I've experienced some that just didn't make sense. So if the group doesn't work for you, just like any social group, find another one or make your own. But make sure everybody has fun. The more fun it is, the more people will come out. That's Maurice back there. The pollen's bothering my throat. We had a lot of pollen over the last week. So I was very impressed with Davis, because normally at this pace, in the past, she would already have quit. So to see her here at this level, I said, okay, she's serious now. So she's really prepared for the MS 150 that she wants to ride. I mean, when the power is really peak. You know, she can't hold it, but I'm just saying that it was good to see her here in the pace line. I move over to the right a little bit on purpose. There's a hole on the left there. And then I want to stay on the right because I know this road goes up and usually people have challenges. And I don't want to break up my momentum. You can see me just roll. I'm not trying, but you see Alan just kind of pulling away. He's keeping the power constant, but Davis can't hold his wheel on this incline. It might get to 2%. Yeah, it says 2%. Maybe 2.5%. But at this pace, you feel it. So the group's kind of breaking up, so I stay back here with Davis. Mark is going up there on the left. He's using the main lane. He's going up to let Alan know that people are off his wheel. So that's why when I'm pulling, I always look behind. You can't just ride. You got to kind of be aware of what the other riders are doing. And Alan wasn't aware that. So Mark went up there, told Alan, so they backed off a little bit. I'm hanging back here, staying close with Davis. Then I realized Maurice is there. So I ride up in a little while to tell Mark to keep his eye on Davis. Because we have another overpass coming. So there's Davis back there behind Rob and Maurice. This is why I tell Mark, keep your eye on her. Make sure she stays with the group. So I told him, keep your eye on Davis. He said, I'll watch out for her. So then I ride behind Paul H. Because the overpass is up ahead and they jokingly call it Magnolia Mountain. Team RR guys refer to it as that. We're riding these 2 to 3% climbs in a 53.19 or so. The light changes there. It's a short light. Bob backs off. I'm not really sure why he's in front anyway. Should not be up there. The light changes by the time we roll up to it. I'm in a 19 in the back, 52 in the front. This bike I have a 52, a 3652 on the Kish bike. I use the 36 mostly when I train solo. I spin a lot when I train solo, keep my cadence. Shoulder has a lot of debris, especially further up. So once we get into the heavy debris, I go ahead and just stand. I put it in a 53.17, 52.17. I stand up where that yellow sign where the debris starts coming. Because a gap opens up. Because I'm keeping my eye on the rest of the group. There's Davis and Bob. Well, Bob's pulling right now, but Davis ends up getting gapped. And Bob will too. That's what I'm saying. He shouldn't have been up there because all that energy he expended, he could have used it to climb. Now he's pulling off. This is where the climb really begins. You see, it says 2%. In a little bit, Paul H and Alan kind of pull away. I was trying to stay with the group here. There's Rob, there's Davis. You see Marcus shepherding Davis up the climb. But look at how Paul H. and Alan just pulled away. They're just riding. And so I just want to keep my rhythm, so I stand here. I mean, probably a 19 or 17 in the back. I just stand and ride up to them. I'm standing the entire way until I get here, and then I sit. There was no attack. These guys was just riding the same pace. They just didn't let up. I let Alan know that's going to be a right turn at the bottom. He's not familiar with the route. There's no car coming, so I use the road. Get a good shot here. The right lane's clear. I like to be in this lane as opposed to following people because I descend so much faster. So you see I went by Rob, and I'm not really pedaling. It's almost like I'm soft pedaling and feathering the pedal, right? I'm coasting. Alan goes way out. I don't think that kind of a line. I go inside. Just use the shoulder. That's how you keep the group together. They're right there. They're not that far off the back. You can see Davis's chartreuse jersey around the curve. I still haven't put on my sunglasses at this point. It's on the back of my helmet. That's Davis and Bob back there. That's why I said Bob should not have been at the front. You're riding with riders that are faster than you. Save all your energy, but you don't know when you're gonna need it. There's no reason for you to pull. They won't mind. At least you didn't spend 20 minutes up there today and then get dropped like you did on one ride. Maybe he's learning. Maybe it was just too hard. When that overpass came, he had to back off. At this point in the ride,
On Johnson Road, headed east.
we've exited Dacus, headed east on Johnson Road. I decided to film different sections of the route instead of just filming the same parts. And get you guys familiar with the roads that we traverse. This is Johnson Road. When it rains a lot, this section here can get covered with water. It has a tendency. This is the same section where we're headed the opposite direction where we rode through a little bit of water. But this direction, there are more climbs. But these are the kind of roads we ride a high percentage of the rides once we get out of town. You get a car now and then, and it's just pasture. You got farm country. I think that's Mark, and I don't know who's with him up there. They're not that far ahead. We had waited for Davis to shed her jacket. So she's already shed her jacket. At this point, it's about 9 Celsius, which is like 48 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a little breezier. All I wore, those of you who saw the preview, the prologue, I just wore a regular base layer and a mid-weight jersey. That was pretty much it, and it seemed to work great. That's Davis on the right in front of Paul H. She's already shed her. Stopped for her to take off her jacket. She put it up. The road's going up, so she's falling back. She just can't produce those watts. She should be able to do that because she's not a very heavy rider. But I think she just hasn't been riding that way. That's why I tell people that the guys that follow me on Strava, and they're like, oh, you're in beast mode and you did this and you did that. It means nothing. It's what you do on the ride that matters. It's not how far you travel. You have to do certain kind of workout. Doesn't matter if you do 100 miles. If you never hit that zone and you go ride with people that make you get into that zone you're not used to, you and your 100 miles will be off the bat. So don't worry about mileage and speed and average speed and all that foolishness. Focus on the kinds of efforts you are preparing your body to tolerate. That's what matters. That's what I give the people that I coach. The body doesn't care whether you rode for 4 hours. What the body cares about is, have we been able to do this kind of effort before? And if that's a no, then you have trouble. You have problems. I just decided to sit back here, and since Mark has stayed with Davis on the overpass, and I know there are climbs coming, I decided I would stay with Davis and Bob over here. You would see how Bob kind of overreaches a bit, and then I just go ahead and coach Davis a little bit, and you will see how she's able to reel him back in. She's waving me up because she's falling off the pace. I told her, don't worry about me, just ride. So just set your pace. You don't need to wave me over. You don't need to wave anybody over. I know why she's doing that. She feels like she's leaving a gap in the pace line. She doesn't want it to grow. That's just cycling etiquette, but I made it clear to her, don't worry about me. I'm good. So I decided to stay with the two of them instead of us because earlier we had just left them behind on Mount Moriah and the other roads that we traversed before we got here. So I told her just fine to hold your pace. In a little while you'll hear her tell me that she's more of a long distance climber. Those boys are playing. See, she's passing Bob. Bob is over geared. As the road goes up, he struggles. And Bob needs to ride more so he can shed some weight. He doesn't ride enough. He's the one, it's raining, oh, I'm not riding today because it's raining. I'm going to wait till the weather warms up. Well, it shows. You got to ride frequently and get your body tuned. Then you'll be able to perform. His legs are tired, that's why he's coasting. I'm just sitting back watching, and I filmed this just for this exercise. My goal was to stay with them and try to keep those boys in our sights because this road is twisty and there's a lot of climbs. Johnson Road. So now Bob takes off, so I tell her, don't worry about him.
You'll get it back.
I told her, I said, you'll get him back. Here's what she tells me. She's a...
I'm a very long distance climber.
Yeah, that's the way to do
I can climb over there. Not many of those here.
No, that's fine. She says she's a long distance climber and we don't have that many of those long distance climbers. I thought that's fine. It's the same principle. Doesn't matter how long the climb is. Select a pace and a cadence you can maintain. I'm not really paying attention to my cadence at this point. All I'm trying to do is to let her know that you're going to get him back because he's over geared. I can tell. He's starting to slow down.
Got him back.
See? I thought you got him back.
Wait for it. He needs to learn how to pace himself.
In a little while, we'll tell her to go around him.
Go around him.
Right there. That's how pacing works, guys. It's not rocket science, guys and girls. Pace yourself. Know yourself. Know what you can do forever. Find that pace and hold it. Let the other people do that crazy stuff. because you know you're not going to slow down. So all I do here now, I see those, you look down the road, you can see those guys, they're still in our sights. They're killing themselves on these climbs, but they're having the rest. That's why we're able to still keep them in sight. They're not going that fast because they're not riding efficiently. It's not sustainable, as Mo says. Whatever they're doing up there is not sustainable, so they gotta take a break. They'll end up stopping at the intersection and wait for us, which gives them a break, I guess. But at this point, I come to the front just to kind of egg them on, and the road will kick up. It says, I think, 3%. This is one of the steepest parts of this area here on this road. And you got to really watch your gearing. So I'm riding like a 53, 21, or 23, something like that. And I think in a little while I'll go to the 25. Because right here they're on my hip, and I'm watching. I can tell just by using my hearing to make sure I can hear them there. But then when the road kicks up, I downshift and they fall back right here. I downshift. I'm in a 52.25, which is like a 55-inch gear. And I don't know if they didn't shift or not, but I'm not going any harder. It's just that the terrain gets harder. You see my heart rate goes up a little bit. I'm just keeping the tempo. Then I look and I see that they've fallen off. But I actually used the lower gear because that area was a pitch of 3%. And so I back off the power right here so they can catch back up because it lessens, it's flat here. So they're coming back. And sometimes that's all people need, a little encouragement to just keep turning the pedals. It's not easy determining a pace that someone else can hold when they're struggling, but all you try to do is keep them within your reach or keep yourself within their reach. And that will encourage them to work that much harder, or that a little bit harder. So once they got closer, I just resumed the effort. Just by feel. I don't look at heart rate when I'm riding. We're near the corner and I see those guys standing there. That's the intersection with 1097. And then Bob says he needs to shed some gloves. It's getting hot. He's got 2 layers of gloves. I only wore 1. My hands were cold for the first 45 minutes or so after that. Well, cool. Okay. It wasn't very cold.
All right, stop.
He says he needs to shed gloves, so these guys are stopped already, so we'll stop here.
Bob's taking off some rear. Yeah, I gotta redo the rear.
So Paul is just messing with me. He said he needs to upgrade the rear when he came for a fit.
Oh, you want to redo it derailleur on the road? Yeah, you got Dura-Ace in the front brakes and everything. I would just upgrade the Dura-Ace shifters.
When he came to do his fit, we found his shifting was not cooperating because he's got a mix match. He's got Dura-Ace derailleur with Ultegra shifters. They don't work very well like that. At this point in the ride, we're on 149. After we stopped over there, we took 1097. The camera was off. We're headed downtown Montgomery now, and this is a climb into the city. And she's struggling. David is struggling, so I ride up to her, put my hand on her back to push her, and she said, "Oh no, that scares me." And so I left her. I said, "Okay," right there. She said she doesn't like it because it scares her, so I left her and I rode up to Allen here. And this is a 3 to 4% climb into the city, and then even after it levels off, you still have a slight 1.5% grade, and it's long. And then after we go in the city, we go across on 149 up and down. This is one of Paulie Longa's favorite routes because the hills are thick and fast, and it just continues. He would have loved it if he were here today. And you can't hide once you get across 105. When they start going up and down, you feel it. That's why I turned the camera on here. I wanted to get the areas where the action was heavy. see the gap to the boys in the back. Mark is here, nobody else. Rob and them are gap. And we're not going that hard. So that's the thing. When you ride a lot, you don't have to go hard for the pace to be hard for other people. You develop an engine. I mean, it depends on what kind of engine you have to start with. You know, so some riders have a big engine, and so they just develop it that much more. Everybody's different. Gotta find out what works for you. And because I know there are a lot of hills coming, if you saw my mouth was open, I was belly breathing. Because then if we have to stop in the light, you're not gonna hear me. I don't like to be behind on my breathing. To where you have to play catch up. Mark was hoping that we would catch the red light as a way of regrouping, but we hit the green light. As we approach the light changes to green, I go ahead and proceed. And we cross the intersection. Then I ask him if we need to stop. I end up pulling over because somebody said pull over, but then Mark said no, everybody's together.
Do we need to stop?
Paul H turned left on that road that we just passed because it's flatter. I guess that's what he wanted to do. We want these hills. So right here I pull over because Mark said pull over. Somebody, it was Maurice that said pull over. Then Mark said no, we're all together. You don't need to pull over.
Okay.
You can see everybody's here pretty much.
Okay.
So then I get back. So Mark's at the front now. In a little while, I'll go to the front for a little bit and then slip off the front so I can have something to record. Most of the pulling I did was off camera. When the camera was pulled up, I went ahead and did my work for the group. I go ahead and move up to just take a short pull. The road here, this is a right turn. It ends, and there isn't much of a shoulder when we begin this section of 149 south. And in maybe half a kilometer, then we get a bit of a shoulder. So I'll move over the white line in a little bit because I know the road's gonna end. Right there. So I'm actually in the main lane. That lane ends, and there is no shoulder, so you have to use the road. You can see. I put the camera in my right hand just to get a view of the boys in the back. I don't stay here too long. It's kind of hard to hold the camera in your right hand in varying terrain because you really can't shift. So I'll put it back in my left hand, shift down. You see the hills. The hills come here thick and fast. Now we're getting a bit of a shoulder. I think in a little bit I pull off the front. Just wanted to get a good shot of the terrain. It continues for miles on end for probably about 7 or 8 kilometers, maybe 10 kilometers we have up and down. So Maurice comes through. I go ahead and drift to the back. I had checked for traffic. I think after Rob I slip in. This is the group. Paul H turn left, and Bob and Davis have their own pace. They're off the back. They can't put out this power in this terrain. So Paulie Longa loves coming up here because it's just repeated climbs, and that's how you get strong. These are the roads that we rode in December when we were getting ready for the Rafa Festive 500. I like it because once you get to this part, it's a nice shoulder, it's smooth, and you can just use it the whole way. At least give the cars enough room. They still move over a little to pass. You can hear the wind. It's late in the morning now. And the wind is here, doing its thing. Don't worry about it. Find the gear you need and just ride. Effort is what matters. So even though Davis and Bob are off the pace, once we get into Keenan, we wait for them. Even Maurice goes back to check to see where they are, and we regroup there. But this way, everybody gets their workout. We don't have to ride slower than we want to. Give up a minute here and there, but keep the group together. It is important that when you ride this kind of terrain, you make sure you keep your cadence optimized, meaning don't get macho and try to muscle a big gear. You can strain your knee. And then you get home and they hurt. You know, just remember that. Because if you increase your gearing too dramatically, that's when you can have problems with the ligaments and tendons around your joints. The knee will complain. Look at that road. Look up the road. Hear that wind. So you get up to say 45, 47 kilometers an hour, and in a little bit it just robs all your speed, because as soon as you hit the incline, you drop to like the upper 20s. It starts to go up here now, you can see it. Maurice stayed up there for a good while. This is where he pulls off. Mark takes over. It's on the edge of the road. And I was wondering what Alan was waiting on. The guy pulls off. Let's go. I was like, don't let that gap open. So then Alan moved through. Hey, listen to that wind. I'm feathering the pedals here. It's kind of soft pedaling. And then the road goes back up. So it's up and down for at least 6 miles. That's why Paul H turned left. He didn't want to deal with this. This is where we come to get our elevation especially when you do the Strava monthly climbing challenge. To the right, the Tri-Lakes area is to the right. So a lot of times we'll go through there as well. The wind just got heavier and heavier as we approach town. Mark's trying to get off the front. I think in a little while I saw him wave or something, and I guess Alan didn't notice it. Yeah, I think it's somewhere around here. He pulls over, there's a right turn, and you will see him wave Alan through. Alan does not go through. I don't know if he didn't notice it or what, or just mistook what it was, but then Mark just stayed there and continued. But I kind of noticed that. I was like, I think he needed a break. Listen to that wind. And look at that road. This is where you come to get a workout. No stop signs, no traffic lights for miles on end. Open road, that's what Paul Elonga calls it. See, it's just one after another, just up and down. And if you stayed on this road and continued in the westerly direction, it would take you southwest to Jackson Road. But we're gonna go east in a few miles. I think after we pass Spring Branch Road, I go ahead and move to the front to give Mark a little bit of a break before the turn. Or is it here? I think it's here. I move up. I'm gonna ask him if we're turning. We're already past Spring Branch Road. So I let Alan know we're gonna be turning left, so I ride to the front. I put it in a big gear and decided to just make my legs hurt. In a little bit, I flipped the camera around. Put it in my right hand. You can get a view of the boy. You can see Mark working. So when I say I put it in a big gear, you can see my cadence 78. That's kind of low for me. Normally I would be pedaling 85-ish. I look for traffic. There's a car back there. You see him back there with his headlights on coming. We're gonna be turning left. Now let them know it's clear. This is Keenan cutoff turn off. At this point, Maurice lets us know that Davis and Bob are back there. I thought they had all turned on 105. Oh yeah, they turn. They turn.
He went on 105.
They turn on 105.
Davis and him are behind us. Everybody did?
Okay, no, 2 people back. I try to give Davis a hand. She says it scares her when she's pushed. I'm like, she gotta harden up. I was gonna push her up the hill. She said that scares me. I was like, come on. Yeah, she's gotta harden up. We'll have to get her out in the boondocks, hang out, maybe do some camping or something. At this point in the ride, this is Grand Estates, where that's Christian. We had run into Christian and his wife in this subdivision that was stuck at the gate. And I knew the code, so I used the code to open the gate. So this is the second gate getting out of Honea Egypt Road. We had ridden ahead of the group, so we're waiting for Davis and Bob, who are still back there. So Mark says he wants us to stay together on Honea Egypt. And usually we try to keep the group together on this road because it's kind of busy this time of the morning. And you can see Rob on my left there, he's tired right there. And he's low on energy, and somebody ends up, I think when Davis shows up, yeah, see, he's got his tongue out. Davis ends up giving him some jelly beans or something to eat. He'd been doing stuff and it's caught up with him.
I've got a longer way to go.
Go ahead. Let's go.
Let's go, guys. Get this going.
So I edited the stop for time. At this point, Christian starts to go. That's his wife, Elena, behind him. And since Mark had said to keep the group together, we always do on this road late in the morning. We want to keep everybody together. Davis is on Elena's wheel. And so I roll up. I just basically wanted Christian and Elena to stay together because they're doing their own ride. We just happen to run into them in that subdivision. We're not going to break from what we're doing. So I ride up the Davis's wheel. Because when Christian is pulling, he doesn't look behind much. So it's like he just gets into a rhythm and he holds it. And regardless of whether the road goes up or the wind picks up, he doesn't really pay that any mind. And he doesn't really keep up all the time with what's happening. And you'll see him, but he does look behind because I guess he knows his wife's there today. But he does look behind on Honea Egypt on the last climb where the group starts to break up. But I don't follow them. I just sit on her wheel at that point because my goal is to keep our group together. Now, this is over 3 hours in a ride. Everybody's, a lot of these guys are tired. They don't have the volume in their legs to handle this. Even though this road is somewhat sheltered in certain spots, the wind is out here. Egypt Road, one of my favorite roads out here. Doesn't have the best pavement, but there's something about this road. It's just fun to ride. It's all cracked up because when it rains, you see the gutter on the right, the water really doesn't have anywhere to go. These gutters are not really super functional. And so the water just rises and comes over the road. The Christian proceeds to plow through this wind here. That's the best way I can describe it because it's windy. So David waves me up. She's tired of that pace. I go ahead and roll through. Looks really smooth on her bike. She's not rolling around, no body movement, just the legs. Pavement is a little chewed up here, avoid it. We've ridden this road enough to where I know where all those imperfections are. And even though it's late in the morning, we don't have a high volume of traffic on this road, which was nice. It is Sunday afternoon, so it makes sense. Right around this curve, as you round the curve, then you see that little bump in the distance. I usually ride this climb in like a 65-inch gear, usually. To like a 39-17 to like a 39-16 to start, and then go harder from there. Or 53-23. That's what I ride it in, just to keep my legs supple, just at a moderate pace. So when we begin the climb, you will see the gap begin to open. Kristen is not aware of it, but Elena cannot put out the watts required to stay on his wheel, and he starts to pull away. Right here, she starts to downshift. I just sit on her wheel because I want to keep our group together. See Kristen pulling away. I didn't want to go around her. In a little while, he'll look behind. But when you're riding, you can tell nobody's there. He sees that nobody's there, so he backs off. You can tell he's soft pedaling a little bit, and then she can get closer. I they don't want to get involved in that rotation. They're doing their own thing. We just happen to run into them in that neighborhood, and you'll see how it pans out when we get to the main highway. They're turning somewhere else than where we're going. And so it was just good to let them sit up there together. Now he waits for her. She gets on his wheel. I'm spinning a very light gear, probably a 52-23. My cadence is up. Because even after that bump, this road is really odd in that we're still on a grade here, albeit a false flat, and then it fluctuates. You see it says 1% here, and it will go 1%, then it says 0.5, and it continues, and then in the distance you can see where that little dip, and then it goes up again, so it continues. So if you kill yourself in the bump, the rest of this ride is not a whole lot of fun. At this time in the afternoon, you see it's 15 Celsius. So that's almost like 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And right here is the grade. See, it says 1%. You feel it. Then it levels off a little bit, but not at 0. Even though it says 0, that thing picks up integers. And Chris is backing off a little bit for Elena. And then right there where those cars are, it's a little bump again. So you've got to be in the right gear. So what I do is I make sure I shift to keep my legs supple. So as we go around the curve here, it goes slightly downhill. If you save your legs, you can capitalize on it. Basically in town, and right here we're going to back off the power here. We turn right on Fish Creek South. Oh, let's see Maurice. Oh, Alan's there. Okay. So Alan and Maurice are the only one that hung on. And Christy and his wife begin to look, because he points out, they're turning left. So they must have driven out here and parked somewhere. This time of the morning, this road's kind of busy. So they take the lane. And I let Elena know it was great to see her. I don't see her that often. I see Christian more.
All right, take care. Take care, guys. Nice to see you.
So they go ahead and do what they're doing, and we resume. So it's just the three of us. It's Alan, myself, and Maurice that are up here. So Mark is with Rob and Bob and Davis. And we end up regrouping off camera at the light after this one. So I hope you all got a chance to get some K's in. If you didn't, keep moving, keep those doctors fine.